In 2023, I built a landing page generator using GPT-4 and Stable Diffusion. Within a few months after launching, I made $15,000 in revenue, but for some reason, I couldn't grow it. So I ended up selling the product for $35,000 US. In this video, I'm going to break down how I got the idea, how I built the first version of the product and got the first customers, and how and why I ended up selling it. In March 2023, AI is so big and everybody is talking about AI tools, ChatGPT, and all those AI services that I decided to go all in and build my own AI tools as well. As a solo developer who's built about 20 websites in the past 2 years, I thought it would be really cool if we could just input text and get a landing page or a mini website generated for like something like a portfolio, a yoga studio, a software landing page. And so I started to build, and the product was extremely simple. Customers would have to fill a form describing the tone of the voice they want to be using, the colors they would like to choose for the landing page, describe their products, describe their customers, and choose among one of those 3 packages. So for $19, they would get an entire landing page generated, and they will get more variation, more illustrations, more images with bigger packages. Here's a demo of a landing page that's been generated with my first version of the product. You can see here, it's like a website. The components are those that I built myself, and they are basically empty. So you would have this pricing section that I built that was empty. And then when the customer would pay, I would make a request to the GPT-4 API to fill in information by titles and descriptions based on the customer input. It will also create not always really good images, but that would be relevant to the headlines. It would also try to match the colors of the websites based on the image. And the customer would be able to update a few things here. So if they want to change the theme, for instance, they can go with whatever they want from the theme. And if they're happy with it, they can download the code, HTML code, or just share the code with their team members. It was really minimal. The results were not incredible, but it was working, and it was pretty impressive to be able to make this with just a few inputs. And so I decided to launch on Product Hunt, and the product ended up being ranking 3rd of the day, which I was really happy with. Back then I was building in public on Twitter, so sharing my progress there, and I already had probably 15,000 followers, which helped me boost the Product Hunt launch. I also launched on Hacker News, didn't get much traffic, but a little push and nice comments, surprisingly, from Hacker News. So I was pretty satisfied with it as well. Within about 2 months, the product had made about 7,000 euro, which is roughly $8,000 US. I was pretty satisfied with it, but then I realized the name of my startup was the same as a bigger software company. So I had to rebrand the entire website. And so I rebranded Landing AI into Make Landing. I got rid of the AI wordings so that anyone who wants to make a landing page but is not familiar with artificial intelligence would still understand the product. Unlike before, it would be simpler, no form, just people type what they want to make the site. I also added this little demo on the landing page that was quite eye-catchy to still show that you can input a text and get a website generated. Also added some demos of potential landing page that were actually made with the product, and I bumped the price a little bit from $19 to $29 per landing page. The big difference lies in the user dashboard. Unlike before, where you would get the landing page generated and not be able to do much with it, now users would log in and be able to edit the entire landing page. So that includes changing the headlines, changing the images by using either stock photo library, uploading your picture or generating AI photos, adding, removing buttons, adding sections to the site, changing the colors of the site, just like before, the themes, also the fonts as well, a bunch of things that could be done here. Then people could preview the site, and if they are happy with it, they would get a link so that they will be able to share that with anyone and start to bring traffic to the landing page and convert into whatever this is they wanted. I also added analytics per landing page so that people have a little clue of what's going on there. The new product was more polished, and I decided to launch it. So I went back to my Twitter, I shared this time a little video that explains how it works, and I launched it on Product Hunt. I did not get the badge this time, but I think people were used to what I shipped before, so these got a bit less attention. But I was getting really decent traffic. After the launch, people started to reshare this on AI newsletter, and it got 10 to 15K visitors per month. And I think within 3 months, I had made almost 9,000 US dollar, which was quite nice. I'm living here in Bali and it would definitely pay more than the bills. Although there were little less conversions in terms of visitor to paid customers. And I think it's because I entered the market of big landing page builders. So Framer, WordPress, Webflow I would compete with those big guys. And as a solopreneur with limited resources, it was really hard to convince users to pay for my entire website generator when they have Framer as a competitor. And from that moment, I knew it was time to sell because I had no idea how to get it to the next level. In October 2023, when I decided to sell the startup, I abandoned it, which means I would still do customer support, but I would not add any feature or I would not do any marketing. Meanwhile, I listed the startup on acquire.com, which is a small startup acquisition marketplace where you have a bunch of buyers that are willing to have a look at your product. After listing the startup, I got dozens of offers within one day, I think. And some of them were promising. So I started to engage with the buyers. And the process is always similar, at least for a micro startup like mine, where you would have to sign an agreement on which assets will be transferred. In my case, it would be a domain name, the code base, the customer base, the database, and all that. And after a few days chatting with the buyer, one of them decided to buy the startup. And without even having any phone call, the money landed in my bank account. We agreed on 35,000 US dollar, and after the cut, I got 33.6K in my bank account, which seems like crazy knowing that we never got each other on the phone. This is actually my third startup acquisition this year. I sold 2 other micro startup, and I wrote a little blog article about it. If you want, I'll leave a link in the description if that helps you. This is not a life-changing amount of money, but 35K plus 15K is revenue, that's $50,000, which where I live here in Bali would basically buy me 2 years of whatever this is I want to do. So I would get 2 years of peacefulness, retirement, or 2 years of grinds if I want. And this is exactly what I did. After selling the startup, I kept shipping more apps. And now my small, like really tiny internet businesses are making this month, January 2024, 50,000 US dollar in revenue, 0 employee, and 90% profit. And I couldn't have done it without having the clarity and the peace of mind that those startup sales gave me last year. So I really recommend you to show up daily, find a product, a problem that you have that you want to solve, ship a very small, tiny version of the product and launch it and see where that goes. Because you might end up getting some sales, end up be able to sell it and buy a few years of retirement or grind. Cheers.